What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 22 on my road to 700 pounds. I'm actually going to do a little bit different this week and give you day one and day two of my weeks. Starting off with isometric bench press here, actually pressing against the pins for about 6 seconds, full force, and then going straight into 495 for a quick triple. These are speed reps. So the focus is definitely pausing at the bottom and racing it to the top as fast as possible. This is compensatory acceleration training at its finest. The point here with this week is we're backing off the weight just a little bit to give myself a little bit of a taper, kind of a pseudo deload, and this will set us up nicely for next week's heavy day right before the meet. We are now 3 weeks out from the meet. We got some more isometrics here. This is actually about 2 inches from lockout, 100% force. I am trying to break those pins, and it pisses me off because that is very tough to do. But going on right here to the second set of 495. I did set it up a little high so I could set the pins up. Normally I don't want to lift off from that high of from a rack height, but with 495, no problem with that at all. And so there's just 2 sets of that. Moving on to weighted dips, considerably lighter this week with 2 sets of 5 at 120 pounds over body weight, and these were very easy. But this week is, like I said, a pseudo deload. We're kind of backing off of the super heavy. We're definitely hitting all the muscle groups the same way, focusing on form, technique, speed, and want to definitely make sure that I'm not resting to the point that I'm too relaxed to go heavy next week. And like I said, we are 3 weeks out from the 700 pound being on the bar. Next week will be extremely heavy, so I want to make sure that all my joints, tendons, ligaments are well rested and not hurting at all. No signs of that, but this week is definitely just a precaution. These are the dumbbell paused floor flies, 3 sets of 12 on these, extremely easy. But like I said, the focus here is making sure that we're going through all the motions like normal, but letting the muscles recoup a little bit of energy this week and make sure that everything is feeling good for next week and of course meet week. This week was actually kind of weird because obviously going into any type of relaxed tone or kind of a deload, if you will, everything seems kind of off when it comes to the actual training. It's funny how your mental preparation for a training day really does affect how you move the weight and how you feel. These obviously on video, very easy. The bench press looks very easy, but it was weird because even though 495 is a warm-up on a quote-unquote deload week or kind of a reload week, it actually feels a lot heavier. So that's one thing I definitely want to, maybe not caution necessarily, but just for you guys out there that are doing training and you take a deload, it is perfectly normal for the bar to feel a little heavier with a lighter weight. Because your mind typically isn't in the game like it normally is. You want it to be, and that's the goal. You want to go into the workout moving the weight with force, with fierce, with aggression, just like you would when it's heavy. But your body doesn't really know the difference between a super heavy day and what your mind can basically tell your body is a super heavy day. So you want to basically focus as hard as you can to make things happen on these deloads and reloads. Bring 100% force because you can still get hurt, and that's definitely something you want to keep in the back of your mind. You want to stay injury free. Moving on to wide grip lat pull downs. This is 2 sets of 8 with 190 pounds. Very easy. Keeping the back in everything this week, and going to finish out the day here with tricep rope, and this is going to be 140 pounds, 2 sets of 12, focusing on that tricep squeeze at the bottom. And so I got a little special, like I said earlier today. This is day one, and basically right after these triceps is going to be the completion of day one. My second day is typically 2 days later. I do my heavy bench days on Mondays, possibly Tuesdays, depending on how I feel. And 48 hours later, which is typically Thursday, I will do my second quote-unquote bench day. I very rarely bench on my second day, especially now that I'm heavy, and then definitely now that I'm in meet prep. I actually utilize my second day, I guess you can call it my upper body day, for the shoulders and back. I definitely do some biceps and some accessories on that day, but you could definitely call this my shoulder and back accessory day. So moving right along to day 2, and we have got my favorite superset here, which is front raises, lateral raises, and bent over flies. This is kind of considered a giant set. What it is basically I'm taking the 35-pound dumbbells and I'm doing 10 reps of front raises, and then I go into some side raises here, and you definitely get a very, very good pump in the shoulders and the delts. And then the last one here is a bent over, and doing these, I typically will do 35 pounds or so for 10 to 12 reps on each of these for a few sets. Today we're hitting the same weight, hitting the same reps. We're only going to do 2 sets. But like the previous weeks, probably the last 4 weeks or so, I've been working with either 30-pound dumbbells on these or 35s, and I typically do 3 sets or so of 10. And this is typically the first thing I do in the day on this particular day. And I will make sure that I warm up very thoroughly before any exercise. This one is definitely one you want to warm up for. I use bands, I use arm circles, I do 10s, 15s, 20s, 25s, working up to the 35s. You want those shoulders warm for this set, or else you are going to burn big time, and it is not a good burn. It hurts. But if you warm up correctly, this is a great shoulder set, and you will definitely grow your shoulders with this. This keeps the rotator cuffs healthy, keeps your delts healthy. It really does work. And this is just kind of the first shoulder set of the day. I'm moving on here to some rear delt work, and this is the whole stack basically. I typically find a machine that I can do between 250 and 300 pounds. There's typically no problem. Working for, I believe this was 3 sets of 10, and these really work to finish off those rear delts. Obviously the bent over set really does get those delts, but it's not quite heavy enough to really kill them. And so I use this, and this is a great workout for stabilizing that bench press. You're going to grow the back here, grow the shoulders, and you're going to have a very, very solid base to blast a bench press off of your chest. Moving on to one of my other favorites for triceps, and this is the calves press on a Smith machine. Notice I'm not going all the way down. This is strictly for the triceps. This is not a press at all. If the pecs get involved, the whole set is kind of a waste. You want your triceps moving, lock out to just where the triceps are kind of starting to disengage, and crank it right back up. This is very, very light for me on this. This is 185 pounds for 2 sets of 12. Typically I do 3 to 4 sets of 290 or more on this, and this literally will kill those triceps. This is obviously a finisher for the week. Typically don't hit too much more tricep after this. Moving on to some narrow grip seated rows. This is 205 pounds, 2 sets of 12. I typically do the whole stack, which is close to 300 on a typical week, and we'll do about 3 to 4 sets of these. Really squeezing in the back. Sometimes I do even a scapular retraction on these, and really work on getting a good squeeze, a good pump. These are very, very easy, no matter what the weight, so I definitely want to work on form and finishing those off. Moving on to some more shoulders, and this is just kind of a variant of overhead press in a hammer strength machine. I normally will work up to 455 pounds, or basically 4 45s and 25s, so however you want to measure that, but this is basically just getting a solid pump on the shoulders. If I don't do these, I'm either doing seated in a squat rack with safety pins and things like that, for overhead presses. I typically do seated just because I want to save the lower back. No need to do the extra work and tax it. But that was basically 2 sets of 10. I typically do 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15. Moving on to some seal rows. And this is basically a chest supported row. I couldn't find a bench that would allow me to lay flat. And these are very, very good for working that back. And that's 365 pounds. Best that I've done is 425 for a set of 5. This is, like I said, pretty light this week. So this is 365, 2 sets of 5. Definitely working on a squeeze, getting as much range of motion as you can. Sometimes you're limited with the equipment that you have, and you got to work with what you got. These are a new thing that we've kind of added in, Josh and I, and this is Cobra lat pull downs. The object to this is you're isolating each individual lat, and you're firing that shoulder or that elbow straight down and getting a very, very good squeeze, keeping tight the whole time, stretching up as far as you can, and getting that back worked. This is right at 100 pounds. I've worked up to about 130, 140 on these. These are not supposed to be really heavy. The idea here is form. Just a kind of a difference. Obviously, I do lat pull downs earlier in the week. These are just a supplemental exercise to keep things going with the accessories. And this was 2 sets of 10 on each arm. Definitely feel a pump in the shoulders from all the shoulder work I've done today. Triceps are on fire, but that's exactly what I want. I want blood flow in there. I want everything to be working. Pretty much the heavy stuff is out of the way for the week. So these are all critical for a successful big bench press. The flat bench, as you can see, was probably the first hour or so of the week's workout. The rest of the time I am spending time using it for accessories. 75 to 80% of every single workout is accessories, as you guys can probably see here. Accessories are what make things grow. The big bench movements, the compound movements like squats and deadlifts, which I do, obviously they don't really contribute directly to the bench press and to the road to 700, so I don't include them, but I definitely do have a squat and deadlift day, and working very heavy on those, trying to formulate a full meet as well. So look forward for that, probably in a few months or so. But this will end it for the Cobra lat pull downs. Got a couple more sets here, and this is standing hammer curls with the rope, and this is pretty light, 120 pounds, 2 sets of 12, getting a very good squeeze at the top, making sure I'm focused on that bicep. And biceps are pretty strong. Obviously, I want to keep those in check because the triceps are pretty strong. So this is kind of making things equal, symmetrical as far as the strength is concerned. Not really concerned about the aesthetics, but that's always a nice additive. So finishing these up, I have kind of a finisher with the bicep curl on a hammer strength machine. And this is 2 45-pound plates, 90 pounds, 2 sets of 15. And this is the last set of the week, finishing things out. Everything is feeling great. I am very excited. Next week, we have on tap a 675-pound training PR in the works. This will be a 25-pound PR over my current gym PR, which is 655, and that was done a week before going into a 661 bench press, close to a 677 lockout, weighing 266. I am now currently weighing 295 on any given morning. Feel very, very strong, and I am looking forward to this. Every thing is coming together. Obviously, camera got knocked down there, but that happens sometimes. But definitely appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe. Find me on Instagram at SwimHack. And please, please, please tune in next week. It's going to be very, very exciting. Thank you for following me on my road to 700. And I look forward to seeing you in the gym. See ya.